Welcome to Taskforce Geek. My name is Dirk Cooper, and I'm joined today by Scott.
Howdy!
And Shawn.
Hello.
And our special guest today is Russell Oldham.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing? Let me give you a little bio on Russ, as we got him on the screen here. Russell began his artistic journey at an early age, inspired by science fiction books and movies from the 70s and 80s, so say we all. In the 90s, he ventured off into the realms of D&D and comics, but eventually got sidetracked by life, so say we all. 20 years later, Russell is now pursuing his dream of creating and publishing his own comic book stories through his studio, Blackwolf Artworks. His current project is a science fiction comic book titled Age of the Remnants, and we've seen some stuff on it. It's pretty cool, and we will be talking about that very soon. All of the stories or questions that we're talking about tonight were shared on the Taskforce Geek Quora space. Oh, I don't have this thing ready. It's already starting. All the pain is starting. I'm in the wrong thing. Here we go. There it is. Taskforce Geek. The Taskforce Geek Quora space now has over 500,000 followers. Join us on there. We got all of our questions and stuff from that site. If you want to be a guest on Taskforce Geek, I'll tell you to do that at the end. Particularly if you have something to promote, we want to do that. We are broadcasting live on my Facebook page, which is right there, and our ridiculous and stupid YouTube address, which will forever be that until you get on there and follow us. Subscribe to that. I'm going to mention that every 5 minutes until you guys get on there and subscribe on that thing. In fact, that's all we're going to do tonight is talk about you subscribing on YouTube. Are you guys ready to discuss that?
Let's do it.
All right. For real, our first subject tonight is Margot Robbie's new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Margot Robbie is setting sail with help from her Birds of Prey writer, Christina Hodson. Hodson has been tapped to write a new female-fronted Pirates of the Caribbean for Disney, while Robbie is attached to star. While plot details are being kept in Davy Jones's locker, the project in early development is not intended to be a spin-off of the long-running franchise that had Pirate Jack Sparrow at its center, but rather a wholly original story with new characters under the Pirates moniker, itself inspired by the long-running attraction at Disneyland. So for this, I'm first going to Scott.
I was very cold on Birds of Prey, despite having the beautiful Margot Robbie in it. I thought it was, now this is a man's perspective, but I thought it was like just not good at all. And I felt like if I was a woman, I would be like not proud of it. But I mean, I could be wrong. So this doesn't do anything for me whatsoever. I've seen the Pirates of the Caribbean. I've seen a Pirates movie with an all-female cast and others I've seen. And I'm just not excited about this in any way, shape, or form. And that's all I got to say really about it. I don't have anything nice. I'm not excited. I'm sure Disney will make it amazing, and I know it'll make a lot of money, but I don't care.
Hello to jury. Up next is Shawn.
Well, I know that from what I've read, the character that Margot Robbie is going to play her name is Red. She is a greeter at the actual ride at Disney Studios.
She's a greeter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, she is. So
this is going to be one of those attractions comes to life things.
Yeah, kind of. And
okay.
That's weird.
So that's kind of the basis for that character. Originally, they were eyeing Karen Gillian to play the role.
Her.
So I was really looking forward to that. Hearing that Robbie, nothing against Robbie, I've enjoyed her takes on a lot of things, but much like Scott, the Birds of Prey left me kind of flat.
It really was flat, wasn't it?
Nothing against the movie itself. I mean, it had its moments, but overall, being that everything was men suck, and you're making a comic book action movie that mostly men are gonna try to see. Oh, by the way, we don't want our women to look attractive, so we're going to dowdy their clothing and their overall look so that they're not attractive per se, and what have you. The whole thing it seemed like a feminist mess, and in the end, it fell flat. I don't know. So that does not give me a whole lot of hope for the Pirates of the Caribbean with that team.
All right, we're going to Russell next. Hello to Ken.
I never did see Birds of Prey. It interested me not in the least.
Lucky you.
And so
You'll enjoy those 2 hours of life, my friend.
Like you guys, I am a fan of Margot Robbie. I like a lot of stuff that she's been in. I just don't see what else they can do with Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, I just watched some of the films not too long ago, and I think they pretty much kind of played it out. I'm not sure where else they could go with that, and I'm worried it's going to be another one of those disasters like the Ghostbusters reboot. Some of those, because they can't seem to stop attacking men.
Mm-hmm.
It'd probably be a really good movie if they just stick to a story and not try to put any agenda stuff in there. But right. I don't have much faith that they won't do that.
Right.
All I can say is that I'm all about Margot Robbie being in the pirate outfit. That's all I can think of.
Well, sure. You sexist pig.
And
you pig.
And I think that there's some money to be made. I think that's what Disney is thinking. If they could just get another $500 million or $1 billion out of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, they'd be really, really happy. And I think that's why we're getting this. This is not the only reboot that they're doing, though. They're actually looking at doing something else in addition to that. So anyway, they're gonna cram Pirates of the Caribbean down your throat, and by God, you're going to enjoy it or else.
Nothing against Robbie, but I just don't see her headlining a $500 million film. It's not going to happen.
It sounds like it is.
She is no Johnny Depp. She is not going to. She's not going to garner. She will not create a character, I don't believe. With the team that she has, she is not going to create a character that is as iconic as Depp's Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Sparrow. It's not going to happen, and because of that, it's not. No matter how much money they throw at it, it is not going to be as successful. Right now, all they're going to do is just throw money down the drain.
You will go see Pirates of the Caribbean or else.
I'll go see it.
Disney will cut you off. You'll be done.
I'll go see it.
No more Mandalorian or
I will not
Star
argue.
Wars.
I won't argue a moment.
No more Avengers movies for you. You will see Pirates of the Caribbean.
Did you hear the words coming out of my face? I will go see it. It's just not going to be successful. My money is not going to put it over the line.
You know, the other half of this, which I mentioned in the deal, is that you're going to get the writer. They mentioned this like this is a selling point. You're going to get the writer for Birds of Prey.
Right.
I saw Birds of Prey, and it wasn't written that well.
No.
And I don't really want to hear about how comic book men, they only want sexy, like females in comic movies and stuff. That's bull, because when I grew up, reading comics and stuff, my first intro to the X-Men was this strong version of Storm, who was the leader of the X-Men, who had the Thompson twins mohawk at the time. Let's face facts. She was not attractive, at least to my little 12-year-old self, but she was awesome as a leader, and she was stern and she was fair, and she led the X-Men for a long time. And I mean, there's just so many good comic book like role models and strong women that they don't have to like fake it. Just do your research.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's baked into these properties.
Yeah.
Just you're right. Storm is a really good example because I'll tell you, I don't think I've seen Storm really done well yet. And she's certainly not front and center like she is in the comics. I mean, they have really done Storm wrong. Now that's Fox. It's their fault that Storm has not gotten the attention that she deserved. But we'll see what Marvel can do with her, I guess.
I suspect we'll see a shift, being that Marvel has become fairly femme-centric lately. So,
hello, Marianne. She says Johnny Depp made Pirates of the Caribbean what it is.
Absolutely.
It really sounds like we're gonna get a Night at the Museum's pirate ride, adventure. So whatever.
And let me just add that this is a spin-off that is not taking away from the Pirates of the Caribbean, which there are talks of bringing back Johnny Depp's Captain Jack.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still maybe some money in that with him attached. I don't know. Maybe people are burned out of it though. I don't know. All right, we're going to go to the next subject, which is a video game producer quits because of censorship. Although he'll continue to finish up titles still in development, Senran Kagura, producer, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this. Prepare yourself. Kenichiro Takaki has left Japanese developer Marvelous. Takaki was or Takai. They have it spelled two different ways. What the heck? A veteran of the company with his career lasting there a lengthy 13 years. However, he didn't just quit because he fancied a crack at something else. He was apparently growing increasingly frustrated with the restrictions that are being placed on sexual content in video games. If you've been keeping up with the recent furor, then you'll probably already know that companies like Sony are coming down harder on games with sexualized characters or themes. For Takai, this was becoming a problem. As translated by Jimatsu, he told Famitsu, this is brutal, Famitsu magazine in an interview that a thread had snapped within him. And he reckons that games with sexual content add variety, and that's good for the industry. What's more, he says that restrictions will have a negative effect on game development overall. And so first I'm going to go to Shawn. You have to pronounce all these people's names right now.
I don't have them in front of me, so that ain't happening. I am thoroughly against any type of censorship in any format. I may not like what comes out of that, but I'm an adult. I can not listen, not read, not watch. Censorship in and of itself is just that's the devil. Nothing should be censored, in my opinion. And I would fight to the very last drop of blood in my body against censorship, no matter where it was. I understand that as an adult, he wants to make more adult and more adult-themed video games. That obviously this censorship is kind of clipping his wings. I understand. As a creative, you want to kind of broaden your horizon, so to speak. And in some cases, that does make a turn for the adult. If you feel that leaving the company, maybe going out on your own, maybe starting up your own company, is the way to go about it, you've got my blessings. I'll check out whatever you got, and I'll see about backing it.
All right, Russell, we're going to you next.
Okay. I looked this up because I had never heard of this guy or this game. And so I watched a few videos on YouTube of the gameplay and everything. I actually found it kind of amusing, the stuff he was making. It's not a game I would ever play or probably spend money on, but kind of like Shawn, there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't like or I don't really agree with, but I'm not going to tell somebody that you can't make that.
Right.
Because that could turn around on me. Somebody could, see what I'm doing or read my comic and say, oh, well, I don't like that, and we're going to stop him from ever making any more.
Exactly.
just because they disagree with it. It's a lot like a lot of other things. If you don't like it, move on. You don't have, nobody's forcing you to support it. I don't know what kind of an impact that'll have on the video games, especially here in America. Now in Japan, that's probably a big thing. I think there's a lot more of that over there than there is here. But I wish him the best of luck. I mean, it's kind of sounded to me like he had already moved on to another company that was going to support what he'd like to do. So, I mean, there's one door shuts, another door opens.
Right.
That's pretty much the way of the world.
Scott, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm kind of, there's a part of me that says if, these people that are asking him to produce this, they ask him to tone it down or tame it down. I mean, as much as we like to be, free mind, we're creative people and we want to do whatever we want. We're only as free to create. I mean, like if we want to make money as our customers or our boss. And if somebody commissions me to draw a picture and they think, it's too sexualized, I have to decide if I want to make that money and change it or tell them to buzz off. I'll do what I want. Now this guy's probably made his money kind of doing what he wants and he has a fan base for it. And that's his passion. Maybe he feels strongly he wants to do these more adult theme games. I mean, the article almost makes it sound like it's porn, which I doubt it's anything like that. I think it's probably, girls in, tight outfits or schoolgirl outfits with big boobs, fighting or something like that and jiggling around. And if that's what he wants to do and he has the freedom to move on, it's just like any of us. We can take a new job and just like Russ was saying, one door closes, you go somewhere else and find your passion and stuff. So I mean, it's commendable. He's not walking off. He's finishing up his jobs. He's doing what he's told. And that shows a lot about his character in itself as a worker. So hats off to him and good luck in your future going somewhere that will probably let you do what you want to do.
Right. I don't know if I have a cohesive thought here, but I'm just going to put some word salad out there and let you see what you think. When you're talking about adult content in video games, I think back to games like Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row 4 or whatever, any of the Saints Row, frankly, or stuff like Bayonetta. And I liked the adult content in that stuff, and I don't want to lose that. I think that if you look at the word censorship is definitely there's a specific definition there, and that is that the government is saying that you cannot say this. It's the government making the call. In this case, what we're talking about are platforms. So, Sony with the PlayStation, or Apple is one of the worst about, we just don't want anything that's for adults or whatever. Facebook, which we're broadcasting on right now, is decidedly anti-adult. If you want to have an adult conversation, you got to get the F off Facebook. So that being a content creator with a foot in maybe 2 or 3 different worlds, I am definitely someone who is incensed at everything being set up for children. And I want to know at what point are we as adults going to say, you know what? I want a little adult content in some video games. It doesn't have to be in Crash Bandicoot. But if I want to play Grand Theft Auto and some crazy stuff happen, and I'm an adult, then I should be allowed to do that. And these platforms that are preventing that are creating some sort of new level of censorship, which I do not care for.
I think there's enough money and there's enough people to do all of it. I mean, I have a bookshelf full of like books and art books and stuff, and I have Milo Manera stuff up there, and it's there. My kids could go grab it if they really wanted to, but they don't. And in the same bookshelf, 3 rows down is more like kid-oriented stuff for them. And I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends how you raise your kids and stuff like that. That's a whole another topic. So I think there's room for all of it. But, you know, if his boss tells him not to do it and he don't want to do it anymore, he goes finds a new boss. So,
you know, Shawn and I have both talked about this subject on many occasions. I was looking at rated R movies back when I was in, 8, 9, 10 years old. I stayed up late at night, watched HBO and Cinemax.
Well, that's why you're messed up.
Well, it is. Hey, I am messed up. But, I think that this adult content thing is way overblown. And it makes me mad now that everything has to be for the children.
Well, would it also be safe to say that it might be going into countries where it might offend people and they want to sell more games?
I'm sure that's the case.
I think it's more about bottom dollar than anything else.
Of course it is. That's also the platforms that we're talking about. I mentioned Facebook in particular, but it applies to Instagram, which is also owned by Facebook, and Twitter and stuff. They're looking for the bucks. They want Coca-Cola to buy ads on their sites.
Right.
And so they want it to be all ages because that's what Coca-Cola wants.
And Jennifer's comment, yeah, that sounds like a pretty cool game. Let's play that.
What does Ronnie say? They're gonna, man, no one's building a statue to me, buddy.
No, he don't get a statue. He gets a hologram. I do. It's really
Murphy
weird.
says that you're a weirdo for having that stuff. Does anyone have anything else they want to add to this?
No. It's interesting and sad, but
Ronnie wants to know what that game is too. We're selling games here, folks.
I think I'm looking at it right now. It's Shinran Kagura.
Yeah, here we go. I'm going to start to say it again. Senran Kagura.
That's SENRAN.
There it is.
KAGUR.
Jennifer for the win.
Look at that.
So there it is, all spelled out for you.
Hey, I'm about to play this game.
Oh my god.
Shawn.
Next up, it's about our guest, Russell Oldham.
Yes.
How you doing, Russ?
I'm doing good.
Tell us a little bit about. Well, let's go back a little bit, and let's talk about kind of your memories back in the olden days of when you did some work on Rough Cut.
Oh, yeah. I just watched your guys' video that you had done with Mike Kennedy.
Yes.
And everything. And so that brought back a lot of good memories. But yeah, I was living up in Oklahoma City at that time. And I had gotten into comic books late in life. I think I was probably about almost 20, 21 before I got into comic books.
You must have dated before then. Because we didn't. We found comic books.
The small town that I was in, nobody read comic books. And I was exposed to them when I was young. I had some cousins that were big Hulk fans and stuff like that, but I just didn't get into it at that time. But I ended up, I got married and I moved up to the south side of Oklahoma City and found Planet Comics. And I became like a customer there every week. I was one of those guys with, 20, 25 books a month on my pull list. And, that's where I kind of, I met Mike and some of the other guys and, eventually got pulled into the Rough Cut thing. Because I think Mike had said something about, they were putting together a group of guys to do a comic book, an anthology kind of thing. And I had done a lot of art stuff before then. And I thought, well, I'm going to try my hand at comics and, give this a shot and, jump in with these guys, and that's, of course, when I met all of you guys and it just, really kind of fueled the passion for it. And I started working up stories and ideas and stuff. And Man, the days of us going to like what was it, DEF CON, I think it was in Tulsa.
Sure.
Oh man, that's
That was
a
fun.
big memory for me. I had so much fun at that con,
Sure.
and that's where I got to meet. Bart Sears there.
Right.
Walter McDaniel.
Yeah.
Bart hates me.
Bart's kind of grumpy all the time anyway, but I ended up backing some of his stuff on Kickstarter because he redid those Wizard articles.
Oh yeah, Brute and Babe.
Yeah, so he did a Brute and Babe like a hardback edition and added some stuff to it and everything.
That's cool. How was it?
It's really nice. He gives a lot of insight in there, in this edition and everything, and gives a lot of thought processes into, how to plan out your pages and how to lay those out and keep the dynamics up. And I don't know if I'm doing such a great job with it, but I'm certainly trying. But
you mentioned that life got ahead of you, and I think that the three of us feel exactly the same way. That time has passed for us, and it seems like all three of us are returning to doing art in general, and maybe specifically doing comic art or maybe some commercial art or something.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that kind of took you away from doing artwork, and what brought you back?
Well, after the crash in 97,
right,
and everything, I still drew a lot of stuff and everything, but just the market was way down.
Yes.
So I went back to work, and I was pulling a lot of hours, long hours. That put a real strain on my marriage. So that ended up going south.
Oh.
And so pretty much just dealing with, the divorce and
Sure.
taking care of a child in between the two of us.
Yeah.
And all those expenses, that it's, focus on work and taking care of those responsibilities.
Okay.
Then, I did a lot of things over the years.
Hey, Walt.
But I ended up in management, at a retail store, and I did that for probably about 9 years. And I got so burnt out on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I wasn't drawing anything anymore, hardly.
Yep.
And I was miserable.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got to do something that I enjoy
Right.
for a change. And I ended up leaving that job so I could go back to doing artwork.
Wow.
So that was 2 years ago. And
Very interesting. So you've been working on a project that you're just about to launch on Kickstarter, correct?
Yes.
What is the name of it? And tell us a little bit about that project.
Okay. The book is called Age of the Remnants. It's a futuristic, post-apocalyptic kind of story.
Yeah.
It's told in a much different way. In this story, basically, things progressed and humanity ends up extinct. In the future, humans really embraced genetic manipulation, and they started creating their own species of creatures to, like, basically be their kind of workforce, their military, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you've always got companies that go into more deeper, darker, top secret experiments and everything. And they end up creating some pretty bad things that, it all ends up backfiring on them. And over, a couple hundred years, humanity's, embroiled in all these wars with each other and everything else. all these creatures they created, I call them chimeras, have gotten tired of their mistreatment and basically being, kind of servants to humans, that they revolt. And in the background, there's some pretty bad things that they created that end up plotting their destruction. And it happens pretty quick in just a few days. Humanity's wiped out. Now, I'm telling the story of 65 years after humanity's been gone. All these creatures are starting to build new civilizations and new, form countries and things like that. And they're starting to have some of the same problems that, humanity had. And it's just a real exploration of, are humans the way they are because of some kind of genetic thing? Or is it just because
Hey, Maxine.
we have a larger brain capacity? I guess that's the easiest way to say it. We think different than animals. We can create. We've got a different type of abilities because we have opposable thumbs. So, if you took and spliced our genes with, animal DNA and things like that and created new species, would they act the same as us because of the DNA, or would it be because their mental capabilities and their physical capabilities have expanded? What would they act the same, or would they do something different? What kind of societies would they create? What kind of problems would they have?
Cool. Well, I think I'm sorry, Scott. Do you want to?
I was just going to say, thank you for the background. When I just first glanced over your pages and stuff, because maybe some of us were blessed with a preview of the Kickstarter. When is that going to launch?
That was my next question.
July 7th.
July 7th.
So it's about a week from now.
So what I saw in the pages as just a guy visually looking over this is a couple of things. It's a futuristic story, and at the same time, please don't punch me for saying this. It almost feels like a future D&D. I mean, like, you see all these like mythical creatures and races, and you get that future stuff too. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, like I would have loved this as a kid.
Yeah.
And like it's awesome. It's what you want. Like we kind of like Thundercats, right? Because like they're little spaceship guys, and although they fight with a sword, or I mean, Voltron's amazing because he's a big cyborg and he fights with a sword, and he's from a planet where there's a castle and a princess and all these things. So yeah, it seems very magical in that sense. So I was telling my girlfriend, like, it's we got this guy on. It looks like a future D&D type story going on here, and it's going to be pretty cool to see which direction it goes. So
yeah, well, and I have two things that I love the most: science fiction and D&D.
Oh, there you go. That says a lot.
I was trying to figure out what kind of story am I gonna tell, and then I reached a point where I'm like, why do I have to tell just one genre? And I'm like, how can I mix the two genres?
Sure.
Part of the thought was, if I could create my own type of creature, if I had that ability, what would I create? Well, I'd create things that I know and things that I thought that was cool, and I would like to see in real life. Who wouldn't want to see a Minotaur in real life?
Right.
So if we had that ability, I can imagine somebody would create a race of Minotaurs.
Right. I mean, we all probably love Star Wars since we were kids, and it's the classic, here we can travel to other stars, and yet our phone conversations are these little digitized holograms that don't ever work very well. So it's technology and then lack of technology, which makes that beautiful. So I think that's a cool idea and a cool setting.
You already have your Kickstarter set up, like someone mentioned, was it Scott? That we've already had the chance to look at it. Tell me a little bit about, as someone who's interested in maybe doing a Kickstarter at some point, what guided your setup on that? Because to me, it looks pretty good, and it looks like you've got a lot of neat stuff set up on it, and it looks like it's ready to hopefully be a successful launch for you. I just like to know kind of what kind of research you did, or did you talk to someone about that?
I looked at a lot of people's Kickstarters. I went to as many Kickstarter pages as I could, current and past, to take a look at how they were laid out, and then I kind of based it on how successful their campaign was.
Yeah, that's great.
So I would look at the ones that failed and analyze how they set their page up, and maybe see what they might have done wrong compared to these other people that did a really good job.
That's perfect, man. You did your research. That's because it looks solid. I mean, it looks very professional. I think what's your goal on? Do you want to talk about that? What your goal is?
You
don't have to.
I have the funding goal set at 1,500.
Okay.
Okay. I
think you've got a very good chance at hitting that.
That's a worst case scenario for me.
Right.
Okay. Worst case scenario, I hit 1,500. I get some books out there. I make a little bit of money to print some extra books to take to cons.
Yeah.
Of course, 5,000, 10,000, 30,000. Anybody wants to take me to 30,000? Go ahead.
Hey, let's go 100. Does anyone hear 100,000?
I would love to get anywhere between 200 to 300 backers. That would be awesome. Especially for our first Kickstarter.
That'd be awesome.
But
let me ask you about one other thing. Is it true? Did I read this correctly? You are done with this project?
It is done.
That's a hell of a selling point.
Yep.
The first issue done. I want to make sure there's no snags. I've got stuff at the printer right now, like all the little bookmarks and trading cards.
Right.
They're already getting made up.
Hell of a selling point is to say, I'm not going to give this to you 2 years from now. It's done.
Right.
Yep. As soon as it comes off the printer press, it's to you. So
how big is this? How big is this issue?
It is 24 pages of story, and I have 6 pages of bonus material stuff. It's like sketches.
Nice.
It's like sketch pages with kind of like bio information about the players in the book.
Okay.
So you'll get some background on like my Katai character and the robot character Athen. You'll get some background information on the Torrents, but it's all done sketchbook style, like a journal.
Cool.
Each issue, I plan to have that because there's new characters introduced every issue. So it's all planned to be like 24 pages of story, and then extras in there will be related to the story. 32 pages overall.
Walt says, why stop at 300,000? And by the way, Walt, I love that avatar that you've got there. That's pretty awesome. Ronnie says, what was the inspiration for the Blackwolf art banner? Where did the wolf style come from?
The wolf. That comes back. I don't know if I was still in contact with you guys. I was doing a book called Canis.
I remember that.
I remember that wolf.
Yeah.
And that one I had actually solicited to Diamond.
Yeah.
Then with my luck, that was when the crash happened too. And so
of course
stores stopped ordering stuff and companies were going out of business.
Yep. For all you youngins out there, the comic book industry collapsed right after being, like white, flaming hot. It kind of collapsed in the mid to late 90s, and it took a lot of independent people with it.
Yeah. So this guy here, that's one of the Canis creatures and everything. So it was a whole clan of, these werewolf type creatures that didn't change. They were always in that form. And Blackwolf was the name of one of their leaders. and it was there's a Native American name for him and everything, because in the book I used Cherokee language for the Canis.
That's cool.
And so when I was trying to come up with, what's my new company going to be and everything else, I still have people that hit me up from that time to time about that book. And I thought, let's do this Blackwolf thing.
So if people want to support you on your Kickstarter, it's going to come out next Tuesday. Is that correct?
Next Tuesday. Yeah. I believe I'm going to launch around 9:00 that evening.
Okay. So maybe not, we're on the air, but whatever the case is, why don't you send us that link, whatever the live link is, if it's out before we get off the air. And if not, we'll get it the next week.
Okay.
We'll be glad to help. You're going to run it for a month or for a couple of weeks or what?
Yeah, well, it's running for 30 days.
Okay.
Awesome.
As soon as you launch it, please send it to us and we'll put it on here, and I'll be glad to share it, wherever, on Facebook or wherever. We really wish you the best of luck on this project. And by the way, we have seen some advanced artwork. It looks good, man. You colored it up.
Yeah,
it looks super legit. I mean, I think you got a good chance at. I think your worst case scenario is definitely going to happen at least. I think you're going to get funded, and we're going for, as Walt says, we're going for $300K.
$300K. That's so low.
Yeah, that also comes with hiring 3 of your friends to help you with all the chores, with all the spinoffs.
Don't forget about your buddies.
Hey, we get enough money, I will hire some people to help me. A lot of work for all that one guy.
Russell, one last question. I noticed some of the preview pages, there was like a title page, and it kind of went with a log. I guess my question to you, are you doing everything? Are you doing the colors, the inks, the graphic design in the book yourself?
Yeah, everything is me.
Okay. I was really impressed with the graphic design of those couple of pages that was on your preview. You know what I'm talking about, with the glowing blue letters and stuff like that, and the hexes. I thought that was pretty cool. That had my graphic design degree going. That is really awesome. So good job on that.
What I initially had set up, but I mean, I've learned a lot as I'm going along, and.
Well, that's the name of the game of art, right? You should always be learning, because if you don't, then you're not really growing either. So
that's so true. Right. And look, you can tell from what you've got there that you are loving this. You can see a little bit of love in every page. I think that makes a big difference. I think that the best projects out there, it comes from that place, and I can definitely see it in your work. So I'm very excited about this project. Marianne also says, "Sound great! Can't wait." She made that rhyme just in time.
Ooh, look at you!
Our next subject, if I can find it, there it is just a simple Quora question. I'm going to throw it out to the group.
Oh gosh!
What is the most bizarre TV show you've ever seen? And those of you who are watching this either on Facebook or YouTube, you're welcome to chime in on this subject as well. Does anyone want to take this first?
What was it? The animation with the dog.
Animation with the dog.
Are you knows? Adult Swim?
Yes.
There's an animation with a dog.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a pretty good choice.
The dog was Satan, or at least the dog was a demon of Satan.
Something like Mr. Bones, or I don't know. Someone help us out there.
It's a terrible show. I hated it.
There it is, right there, Pickles.
Mr. Pickles. Mr. Pickles, the good boy.
And then there was I think like a spin-off or something with the town sheriff.
Courage the Cowardly Duck. Mr. Pickles. I just looked it up.
Murphy says Scooby-Doo.
No, not Scooby-Doo.
That is very disturbing.
Definitely Mr. Pickles.
Okay.
That thing was absolutely the oddest. In fact, I think I even In the
Yeah.
middle of it, I just said I'm done, and I walked off. I left.
That's a good one too, Walt.
Mama called me. It's the same thing. That's like the spinoff or something. If I remember.
Yeah, that's the follow-up series.
Yeah, I hated both of those.
Marianne says hole in the wall Japan. I have a feeling, I have a theory that
I've never heard of that.
Whatever the correct answer to this question has something to do with a Japanese game show. Murphy says, let's pull it out here. Murphy says, okay, not Scoob. Therese says The Bachelorette.
She was just watching that the other day, I believe, and was.
What? People watch that?
Bizarre TV show ever.
I don't think she purposely watched it. I think she just came across it, and there were a lot of expletives in the text that she was sending.
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Dude, why would you want to pick on Clifford?
I mean, what are we asking here? The weirdest show that we enjoyed, or something we hated?
Seen.
I mean, Shawn went to the hate, and that's first. I went to that. Do you remember
talking about a bizarre TV show?
I hate it as a show. That's weird. It's a weird show.
My first thought when I read this question is I laughed and chuckled and thought about being back in college when we watched those what was it, like something extreme something, and it had it was all the Japanese participants and they were going up people's noses, and it was almost something like out of Nickelodeon. Extreme
right now. The correct answer to this is something that a game show in Japan. I'm telling you. I don't know specifically what it is, but I'm telling you that they have the market on this subject.
Oh, for sure. And it was called something like
How about Most Extreme Challenge?
What was it called?
Most Extreme Challenge. Thank you.
Most Extreme Challenge, which I'm sure it was called something else over in Japan. Well, but I remember seeing that and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, happy, confetti, fun time.
They got a bunch of professional comedians to dub over the
But it was so fun, and you couldn't take your eyes away. And now, if you go to something that was really weird, and you wanted to pull the people out of the TV and push them through a meat grinder, that would be like the Tim and Eric show, awesome show, and stuff like that.
I can't even Tim and Eric. I can't even do Tim and Eric. I hate it.
Let me tell you something. As an old white guy who gets a lot of bad publicity,
very passionate about this.
These guys get really angry and they go off on people. Well, the Tim and Eric Awesome Show puts me up here, and I just want to go destroy things and get mad. So, oh my gosh, that show. Say my blood pressure's already high. I need to calm down.
Breathe in and breathe out. It's gonna be. You're among friends. It's gonna be okay.
Squidbillies is up there too. Is kind of a weird show.
Is pretty bizarre.
That show had so much potential, and then they took this cool idea for a name with little redneck characters, and then they gave it to a kindergarten class to
animate,
and it was terrible. Anyways,
Walter says the Eric Andre show, that's up there for sure. Lonnie says saw the VHS cover for an Asian version of Dirty Harry. I think it was true. It truly is called Dirty Ho. The cover is very serious.
All right, I'm looking it up.
All right, here are my picks. I think if you've ever seen Legion, that's pretty bizarre.
1970.
Legion had 2 or 3 series there, 2 or 3 seasons or whatever. Also, way back in the day, Twin Peaks was pretty bizarre. But my ultimate pick for that is a show that is currently on Adult Swim. It's called The Shivering Truth.
Shivering Truth.
Which is body and psychological horror. It is very messed up stuff in claymation. I defy you to watch that show and not have nightmares. That is a bizarre show. They are not playing around on that thing. So that's
that one's weird. That one is actually. I think I got up and walked out on that one too.
You did. It is super bizarre. It's not that's kind of bizarre. No. No, it's not for beginners. It's bizarre. That's not for beginners.
There was a movie called many moons ago. My roommate Steve, who was our guest last week, I believe it was called Dino King, and I believe it was like a Korean Jurassic Park movie, but it was all taking place like obviously in the past.
That
But
all sounds wonderful.
you had like little kid dinosaurs with voices like something out of Thomas the Tank Engine, and yet you had vile murder and betrayal like you would never believe. And like I was like, what are you watching? Some horror kids show? And we just laughed and laughed and laughed. And they had this reoccurring character that they his nickname was like Old One Eye, and he had this scar across one of his eyes. And like he destroyed this dinosaur kid's whole family, and like stomped his mom to death. I mean, the kids saw murder in front of him all the time, and yet it had voices like it was out of a Thomas the Tank Engine thing.
Nice.
The little Dino King was cross because One Eye killed his mom. It's like, what the hell?
Oh my.
Marianne says that Renegade Angel is the most bizarre show that she's seen. Has anyone seen that? Renegade Angel, anyone?
Xavier, Renegade Angel.
I'm going to look that up right now.
I know. I'm kind of interested, I have to say. Walt is backing me up that the Shivering Truth is way out there. It's way out there.
Way out there.
Way.
Oh my God.
Blizzard?
What the? Oh, I've seen this.
Oh, I've seen this too. This is a really weird show. I don't know if this makes me mad. This is like a guy that like kind of like his torso is on backwards. So his kneecaps been the wrong way, and he has like an eagle face. And yeah, this show makes me mad too. Thank you, Marianne. My blood pressure is rising. This also goes into the wood chipper. It was like a bad video game that they just go, we'll just make voices on top of it. So,
all right. Does anyone else have anything on this subject?
yeah. How does this crap get green lit? That's what I want to know. There's so many good ideas out there.
It's getting multiple seasons. It's not just one and done. So people are watching. I mean, look, Adult Swim puts out a lot of weird stuff. Let's be honest.
That's fine. It's not for me. I get it.
I mean, some of it I really enjoy, and some of it is like I could do without it.
If
If
you ever listen to Uwe Boll, he did an interview one time and was told by the German government, yes, he's German or Austrian, I believe. He got paid more money if his movies were terrible than if they succeeded.
Congratulations.
Therefore, you can tell what kind of movies Uwe Boll makes.
Right.
He's all about the money, so let's make it as crappy as possible.
Dude, I'm all about the money too. I'll produce a lot of crap for some money. So I'm with him.
So perhaps Adult Swim, they're making these just outlandish things because they've got all these kickbacks from higher end college students who want to break in the industry and have just, the most bizarre of imagination.
Sure.
Ronnie's backing you up on you taught him well.
He wanted to see a movie that was akin to Lord of the Rings. And I said, who directed it? And he said, this Uwe Boll. And I said, it's going to be terrible. And he's like, no, it's going to be fantastic. In the Name of the King.
In the Name of the King. Okay. That's what I'm saying right here.
And we went to this movie for Ronnie. And he's like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Yes.
We warned you.
Didn't he do Blood Rain too?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Because I watched that thinking, maybe it might be okay. And then I was like, oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not.
Yeah, I went into that one with high hopes. It had Kristana Loken, I believe, in that one. And I was like, I like her. Please let this be good. And then like 10 minutes in, I'm like, damn. Damn. Oh, well.
We're moving on to our next subject, which is movie theaters reopening. chains across the U.S. and Europe are opening slowly, and almost every major chain plans to open by the middle of July. Regal, the second largest chain in the U.S., will open on July 10th. AMC, the largest chain, will open on July 15th. This is another one that I'm just going to throw to the crowd. Do you have any thoughts on, I mean, like, we're talking now that's, in about a week or two, we're going to have movies open again. Are you guys ready to go see movies in theaters again? Or are you a little sketchy? You think it's a little sketchy? What do you think?
I don't know. I miss going to the movie theater, of course. Who doesn't miss time to socialize? And I'd rather not watch a movie at home, so I'd rather go to the theater and do so and get me a big giant pretzel with some cheese. I don't know what the right answer is. I know locally, every day I go out, like whether I go to work or if I have to make an errand to the post office, the world feels like it's like December 23rd and everybody's doing their last minute shopping. So the disease that cannot be named is still around and getting people all the time. And yet everybody doesn't care anymore, which is just kind of amazing to me. Or maybe people do care. They're just moving on with life and doing the errands that they need to go do. And they're taking their precautions. But I know the last time me and Jennifer went to the grocery store, we went this last Saturday, and I think we were like 10% of the population in the grocery store wearing a mask. And a lot of people don't want to wear masks. And a lot of those people, whether people are going to get mad at me or not, is like these older people, the boomers and stuff. They're unequivocally the ones who are not doing what they're going to do what they want, and you can't tell them. And, if I die, I die. Well, then this is what you get. And I am not ready to go sit in a movie theater yet. I do miss it. I don't miss eating out, surprisingly. I mean, like, I like the part of eating out, but I'm perfectly fine for the rest of my life taking stuff home. So
Jennifer says that they've both Regal and AMC has pushed back to July 30 and 31st. So there's an extra 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, still
from the date of this article that I just read. So it's still going to be a little bit of time. And Tenet got pushed back. That was the thing that would make me, say, well, I'd kind of like to go see that.
I mean, realistically, this is a pandemic that's gone on. I mean, it's not going to be over in a couple months. I mean, this is going to be something like my 10-year-old and my 13-year-old very possibly could learn some really good lessons and change the course of, how they think, when they're old enough to be the leaders of our country and so forth. Because we have never lived through anything like this, and our parents didn't. So it's just different times. It's going to go away slower than quicker. That's for sure.
Who's next on this? Russell, you want to talk on this? Are you ready to go back to the theater?
I don't know. I don't go to theaters too much.
Yeah.
I'm pretty picky about my movies. But I know that there are movies that I want to see in a theater.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not the same watching it at home.
Certainly.
I'm pretty comfortable myself going out among people. I'm not too worried about it. I do wear a mask if there's going to be a lot of people in that area. Now I do kind of stick to my small little town here, and some places I don't wear a mask. Some places I do, just because there's going to be a lot of people at the grocery store or something like that. But the smaller places where there's not a lot of people, I don't usually put the mask on, but I always have it with me just in case.
Russell, do you know Pops?
I do, Pop.
Say hi.
Pops is one of my biggest supporters.
Cool.
He runs a Facebook group and has helped me get a lot of attention for my book.
Awesome.
Hey, that is super awesome. Absolutely. Marianne's got a got quite a statement here. It says, I don't miss theaters very much. I wasn't really ever a moviegoer to begin with. I find it crazy still that I never thought in my 20 years of living I would be in a thing that we're not going to say.
Oh, I said it, didn't I? I said the P word.
We're supposed to say the Backstreet Boys reunion tour.
I did say the disease
in honor of Casey Jane.
All right.
Shawn, do you have a thought on this? Going back to the theater, I mean, we go to the theater when it's available. We go to the theater maybe once a week.
There for a time, every week, every Friday, I'd hit the movie theater with my crew, and a little dinner, and then a nice movie to round out the evening. We've become friends with many a staff at several of the local theaters because we go every Friday. Here the last couple of years, the pickings have been what I would call kind of slim. So we go out to dinner, we hang out and gab because the movies that we're playing just weren't worthy of a big screen. And I think that's going to continue even after everybody kind of loosens up after this event. But as far as getting back to the theater, you tell me the theater doors are open up this weekend, I'll be there. I don't care.
You're ready to go.
I told it might have been you, Dirk. I told somebody, the moment that the Chinese buffet is open, let's do this.
Right, you said that.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem.
Shawn, are you in that boomer age group I'm talking about?
Don't.
I'm totally joking. Don't even answer. I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Dude, thankfully, we are not boomers.
I can honestly tell you. I can tell you what it is. I have been in many, 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 many situations. Some of my own doing, some just out of coincidence, that I should not be here today. Literally, I should not be here today.
I think a lot of humans our age can say that, and I give a hard time to the boomers. There's a lot of amazing boomers out there, but I'm just talking about the knuckleheads anyways. And
sure.
Those are the ones that make everybody look bad on anything.
Sure.
But through everything that I have experienced, this is nothing. This is nothing. I think our governments, or everybody needs to just relax, calm down. Everything will be fine. We have to trust ourselves. We have to trust our medical professionals. Everything will be okay. Just don't be stupid about it, but don't worry. Everything will be fine. I'm pretty certain.
With that said, today, most of us are in Oklahoma. Are we all in Oklahoma? Russell, you're in Oklahoma too, right?
Yep.
Today, we had a all-time record of 583 people that were infected for the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. And so for whatever reason, it is skyrocketing right now. I don't much appreciate that. With that said, if something like Tenet came out, I would be anxious to get back to the movie theater. I'm going out to eat and stuff. I'm moving around. I don't touch doors like I used to. I'm touching it with my elbow, and
you're not licking door handles and stuff.
I'm done with licking door handles.
That's good. You've grown up, man. You've grown up.
I think so. So, I'm being more cautious, and there are times when I'll wear a mask or whatever, depending. I mean, anytime that I go grocery shopping, I feel like I should be doing that because it seems like there's a bunch of crazy people out there that are not paying any attention to anything at all. So it's like when you drive on the street with people who aren't paying attention, you have to be doubly cautious. But anyway. I guess I miss going to movies. I like going to movies. Obviously, movies is something that we talk about constantly on this show, and I'm ready for them to start coming out again so that we can talk more about them. That's kind of the
Well,
way.
let's not kid ourselves. When all businesses are kind of redesigning their game plan. So when
They are.
theaters do open up, they're not going to be just like, we need 500 people to smash into here. You like your movie night group is sometimes
Probably
between
going to be every other role.
8 and 13, right? You know, so
Yes.
you guys might have to bunch up in clumps of 4,
Well,
and there's nothing wrong with that. You know,
one thing that they'd already stated was there was going to be either 1 or 2 chairs in between groups. So
there you go.
you get your.
That's right. You're not stupid. Wear your mask.
Absolutely. We know you're not stupid.
Yeah, you're watching the show. How can you
That's
be
right.
So I mean,
Ronnie seconds that.
all of these the restaurants we've already seen every other table. They're staggered. If they're just tables out in the center of the floor, they've added more spacing between those tables, reduced the number of tables, stuff like that. So the businesses are going to fashion a safer environment amidst this event. And as long as you follow their guidelines, you try to give in this case the theater the amount of courtesy that you would anybody else. Do what they ask you, follow their guidelines, and everything's going to be fine. Nobody should be, I don't think anybody should be concerned or overly concerned, I should say, about it. Everything's going to be fine. Movies will roll.
Murphy's in. Murphy's got it all worked out.
When they opened the casinos back up, I was there the first day.
See?
So I'm probably going to be at the theaters when they open up too. So.
Amen, brother.
Ken's always up for a movie. Jennifer says, unless it's BWW, they aren't spreading people out. What's BWW?
Oh, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings because we had a gift card. And then we got it to go, and they messed up everything. So we got another free meal from them.
Hey, that's good.
And I specifically asked the hostess or whatever. I said, we'd like a table for 2, preferably not around people. She looked me dead in the eyes and goes, okay. And took us on this path up Mount Doom and then surrounded us by orcs because they were everywhere. So what we did is we were in a table probably for 6 and we scooted all the way to the wall trying to stay away from people. And I told Jennifer, I was like, if my fingertips were like 6 inches longer, I could touch about 8 people, So this is not, I mean, maybe she didn't understand English. I don't know. But we ate as fast as we could. They messed up the order again, and we just left. We paid our food, but we left. So, anyways.
Wow.
Every place I've been to so far, every restaurant, and I've been to several, they've opened up the floor. They've spaced out tables. We went just last Friday to a restaurant, and every other table was designated no seating. So they spaced out all the tables, staggered those. I took my mother out for, of course, it was a week or 2 later, but I took my mother out for Mother's Day. Same thing. The restaurant was, the tables were staggered and whatnot. So, I mean, unfortunately, apparently Buffalo Wild Wings is not, but all the ones that I've been to, they've been spacing them out and limiting the amount of persons in there.
Yeah.
Ronnie says that it's coming. He has foretold.
Thanks, Ronnie.
The Ronnie has foretold it.
Maybe this is the beginning of Age of Remnants.
Well, look at that.
All the genetic people are going to live, and we're
How's
all
that
going
for
to
a
go
call?
away. There you go. And so that's why it's really important to back this Kickstarter on July 7th. And you are going to know, like, are you going to be part of the Minotaur people? You want to be part of the robot people?
Get
You
the
want to be part of the
scoop
other
early.
people?
You
Right.
want
Get
to
the
know what the
knowledge.
future's going to be like, you need to get
Yeah.
this book.
This really is a story about us four in the future.
This is the how to survive guide.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Right. This is
Right.
You're saying it's no longer fiction.
Fantastic. I'm all in.
It's working that way. I promise you.
Jerry says that they're going to start sweeping while we're still sitting.
Well, that's so we get the hell out of there. That's all that is.
Ronnie, did you miss the whole segment where we talked about Russell's?
Yeah, he went to Best Buy. He said that in the
Oh, that's
comment
right. He did
section.
say that, didn't he?
Yeah.
We'll get you up on that here soon.
We'll get you caught up.
You may it's got a little D&D in it. You might actually like this. You should get on board.
He'll go back and watch it again, so we're good.
Yeah, I think everyone will.
Yeah.
Watch it multiple times and subscribe on YouTube.
Right.
Yes,
If only they all did.
If everyone watching right now and all of their friends and all their friends subscribe right now on YouTube, we would get rid of that stupid thing.
I subscribed just the other day, so.
Woohoo! Thank you, sir.
We're at 51.
I think we're a little higher than that right now.
I think you're at 58.
I think we're about 58. If you're interested, go follow blackwolfartworks.com. Since we're talking about that again, let's do another plug. Why not? I got a comment here, and then we're getting out of this. Oh yeah, Ronnie missed all that. We've already determined that, dude.
Ronnie had to go get his latest My Hero Academia DVD from Best Buy.
I'm sure that's the case. I'm sure that's what it is. It's time for viewer mail, folks.
All right.
And it starts out, esteemed host, yet another command performance gentleman. Mr. Campbell's appearance was a dynamic turn in your show's brief yet powerful run. I hope to see him make many future appearances to regale audiences with his vast knowledge of pop culture and general nerddom. Concerning the subject of the adult animation boom, many panel members pointed out that the key to enjoying the array of current shows in that genre don't make their scratch via clever animation, but rather a brand of 40-something mildly sophisticated boner jokes. That's really all we want to in order to enjoy something. That's worded bad. That's really want to enjoy something. Clever animation would only be a plus, though effectively a waste of time and money to retain a core audience, he says. I am 90% on the panel side with the essential worker / artist debate. To more succinctly put a few points together in one thought, one doesn't pay for a plumber to fix a leaky pipe in 30 minutes alone. They pay for the work they put into it, to not having. He needs to look at Grammarly or something on this before he sends it to me. They put in to not have it take all day, work right the first time, and be out of your house with everything back to normal. He's saying that, the education and experience that you get with that plumber, that's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the 30 minutes while they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And likewise, I guess with an artist. We can only be YouTube certified for so many things, and art certainly counts for that unless you need a pencil-drawn rectangular prism. On a personal note, I have asked for 20 minutes worth of art for some RPG characters from some people I know who are very talented with that, with the expectation that it would be just that, a 20-minute sketch, and not something that will hang in the Louvre. For reasons I don't need to understand but do need to respect, they declined. To them, creating a certain piece of artwork means meeting their own satisfaction first, then the client. 20 minutes wasn't enough time, even at their normal rates. At that point, the consumer respects the decision and moves on to someone who is fine with a 20-minute job or hacks something out on their own. Simple enough. In regards to The Mandalorian, does anyone have any comments about anything so far?
Well, I was going to say, this reminds me of a convention that we went to,
right,
where we were doing character sketches of RPG characters.
Woohoo!
It was an RPG convention, and we had set up to do character sketches. And I vividly remember one particular character. It was
I know where you're going with this.
Great,
because I was the end of the table, if you got to me, that means that everybody else did not want to touch this character.
That is not true because I was working
That is
as
totally
fast as I
true.
could.
Every time somebody came up to the table, they'd be like, "Oh no, you want to go down to Shawn?" No, I'm not. Nobody wanted to touch this stuff. That's fine.
Dude, you're faster than all of us, man. Although Scott's pretty fast too now. He's putting stuff out pretty quick.
But this guy, I vividly remember this guy and his wife had a character. It was a dwarf transvestite. To which everybody,
that sounds like a Shawn project.
All the Rain King guys said down at the end. And here I am going, all right, whatever. I'll draw it. I don't care. They gave me a description. They're giving me little details as they're standing there. I whipped this thing up and everybody suddenly said, holy crap, you drew the character I had in my head. Next thing I know, I believe Dirk inked it. I believe Scott threw some markers down on it. I remember there was color.
Maybe so.
But everybody had a hand in the final creation of the character. But that was one of the weirdest things. Anyway, the statement just made me think of that moment. And I think I knocked that out in about 20 minutes.
He was really happy. He won like
fast.
He was playing a role-playing game that weekend where it was based on how well you role-play your characters. I
remember
like your stat-wise, and he won the award.
Yeah.
Now he was like, "Yeah, I acted like my character really well," and deep down I was like, "Dude, it's okay to be who you are. You're not acting." But
the thing was, if I remember, that character was played by not just him; it was played by him and his wife. They each played that character.
Okay, well,
and so I think it was dependent on the situation, or perhaps it was. Sometimes the husband would play the character, sometimes the wife would play the character. I don't know, depending on what game they were at. But for whatever reason, and this is what disturbed me the most. All the other conventioners that came by the table, as soon as they saw what I was drawing, they knew exactly who that character was. They knew its name. They knew who the owner of the character. Everybody knew this character.
How could you forget that?
Yeah.
And all I kept thinking is, oh my God, how many times have you played this character?
That was a super role-playing convention, and I would love to do more of those like that.
Oh, absolutely.
It would be more fun now, I think. Yeah. I agree with that.
So.
I would dare say I've enjoyed other conventions more, but I think I had the most fun with the people at that. Yeah, one. That was a blast.
Do you remember the vampire that was like walking by, and we're like, "What are you?" And he's like, "I'm obfuscating," or something like this. Like I'm invisible, and we're like, "Okay,"
yeah. I do wish that they would have bathed more. By that last day,
I'm going to stick up for gamers and say you got to remember, Shawn, that was like 25 plus years ago.
That was before water.
Well, no, but I think we should give credit to a lot of like nerd culture and gamers. We've kind of grown up in the last 25 years. I say we because I'm just throwing all of us in there, even though I've never smelt us, because I would have told you guys, like, go take a shower. I think nerd culture's got a lot better on stuff like that, but the stereotypes are still out there, and that's where we get pinged for it. So
I can promise you'd be shocked.
I'm not shocked, my friend.
Can we say that Jennifer has informed us that we are at 62 subscribers, so we gained 4 during this episode. Thank you for telling us that, and it's not too late to go
32.
subscribe. Go subscribe on YouTube, please, please, please. Marianne Childress says, "Man, this is making me want to go back and go add more stuff to my graphic novel project that I took a break on to avoid burnout." Hey, you know what? If we could have an overarching theme of this show is to get everyone out and being more creative, and then hopefully coming on this show and sharing it with us. I think that's very much what we're about, and we're sharing our turn at being more creative again, because I think much like Russell, we all kind of walked away from it for a little bit, and we're now coming back. And yeah, if you're inspired, that's awesome. That's what we want. And when you're ready, let's have you on there.
I think that's probably the difference between like somebody in the comic world at 25, 26 drawing comics and most of us is somehow they fought through and didn't let life distract them. And there's no shame. There's no shame in saying like, I got distracted, because even some of the big hardcore professionals, the Joe Maduras and stuff like that, they get distracted too at times. And, it's how you handle it. But sometimes you got to feed the kids, or, you got to pay rent and stuff. So it is a struggle.
Life catches up.
So.
I think the main thing is if it's something that you love, if it's something that you want to do, don't ever give up on it. Even, take me, for example. I had to pay the bills. So, of course, that's the direction that I went. Luckily for me, my particular career is in art. So I've maintained, but I did kind of steer away from comics for quite a while. Here recently, within the last couple of years, I put my foot down and said, dang it, I'm doing this. I don't care. I don't care if it takes me till my deathbed to print one book. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it no matter what, and no one's going to stop me. And you should be the same. If it's something that you truly want to do, who cares how long it takes? Just do it. Do it and be proud of your accomplishment. Be proud of what you were able to create.
In my case, in my mid-20s, right around the time that we're talking about and stuff, I got very frustrated with the fact that we went to San Diego a few times and met with some editors and stuff. And at the time, I felt like hey, I'm doing pretty good work, and someone should hire me and stuff. But the fact of the matter was, it just wasn't quite there. But it was close. It was pretty close. And I talked to a guy at Dark Horse who gave me his card, and he says, do 8 more pages and follow the stuff that I've said here, and we'll talk about getting you some work. And guess what? I never did it.
Yeah.
I will regret that until my dying day. Is not just doing 8 more pages and getting it to that guy, because I had the hubris to think that I was already there. But I wasn't there. I just needed to do some more damn work. With all of that said, Marianne is young, and my advice is don't let 15 or 20 years slip away from you. Keep doing your stuff. You don't have to work on it all the time, but you're young. You don't have to produce all of this tomorrow, but it's definitely worth it to stick with it, because if you walk away from it, all 4 of us right now are saying that we regret walking away from it, and we're back in it with a passion because we regret not doing this. Right. And so here we are again. Don't be us. Learn from us and stick with it. It's worth it. And it's not about money, and it's not about fame or something. Doing this work and being creative and getting this stuff out is really about feeding your soul a little bit, sharing a little bit of yourself. And there's a meditative part of artwork. When I'm doing artwork, I'm very happy. So
I think it's probably safe to say life has been a little jumbled up for me in the last 6 weeks, but I turned that focus into art, and I think it's shown, and I've been doing more and more lately. And yeah,
I think it's improving too.
I don't want to admit this, but I think it's kind of that inner peace of like, I just didn't sit around and waste time watching a TV show or playing video games or whatever it was. I enjoy a lot of things. I don't consider any of it really wasting time, but I wasn't producing anything either. You know what I'm saying? Like I lost my time playing some board games. Now I've lost my time producing artwork that people's bought from me. And, that me just in the last few weeks, that parlayed that into hey, do you want to design a shirt for my Kickstarter project? And, it's not all about the money, but man, it's sure nice when you get a little bit of that as well. I mean, somebody willing to pay for your artwork.
It doesn't. It certainly doesn't suck.
It might be it's nice to go buy groceries with that money, but it's also really nice, kind of mentally to say, I've talked before, you see all your mistakes when you draw it, and all your mistakes is your style at the same time. So you can't hate yourself. But when somebody's willing to lay down their own hard-earned money just for a sampling of what you can offer them, whether it's a good deal or not, Shawn says I'm undercharging, and he's probably right. But that's another topic. That makes you feel good, and that makes you want to keep producing and trying to get better. I mean, I find myself going like, I'm going to work hard on this because this person really wants this, and that's a good feeling, and really what you would love to do every day of your life, right?
Yeah.
Let's get through a few comments here, please.
No.
Gamers so need to take more baths. And I know from working for a con. Ouch. Yeah. Walt says, my favorite Comic-Con sign was from a girl, and it said, if you can afford to come to the convention, you can afford deodorant.
Amen, brother.
Marianne says that she has a concept and lore, but it's not going to be done for a while. You can still come on. That's okay. Ronnie's talking about his project. He says he pulled his book notes back out. He's working on plot lines. When you're ready to promote that, we'll have you on for that, buddy. Murphy says, we inspired him to artistically update his profile pic. Sean Sexton says, I went sailing one afternoon at San Diego Con.
I think I remember that. I might have been at that con. I think I remember that.
It's right there on the bay.
Mm-hmm.
The paid gigs help to improve your personal work. Yeah, absolutely. And it also keeps you in supplies, whether you're doing, analog supplies like pencils and paper and markers, or you're using an art pad with a computer. This stuff's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Congoer encounters, I had a guy give me a fake interview with an invisible mic, she says.
Well,
that is quite a story.
If it works, good for him, right?
I'm going to skip, right, hey. I'm going to skip some of what Pump sent us because,
yeah,
he sent us a lot. He does say, note, Scott's jubilant outburst in the theater during the sudden death of Han should be discussed now.
What is the matter with you?
You want to take that, buddy?
There's times when I was a
Spoiler
different person. I guess I did kind of laugh out loud when he died, like I was happy.
Apparently.
So, growing up, just to sum this up, my favorite wrestlers growing up have always kind of been the bad guys. Once I realized it was, a big hoax, that the bad guys are there to get you to boo and stuff. And a little bit of that came out when I was watching Star Wars and he died, because I knew that would get people around me like,
dude, you're jubilant now. What the hell, man?
I'm way better at it, being
Scott.
You were even more
mature.
jubilant? Oh my jeez.
I mean, sometimes things take you and you just can't help but just chuckle. And that was one of those times.
The death of a beloved character, that's always made me just burst out in laughter.
Well, it's not real. People can't get mad when he dies. Oh, they're so mad. It's like he's not even real. It's not real.
Let me add to that. We have my gang of friends. We went to see King Kong, the remake of King Kong, and we've got a friend that has a very how can I say this? A very dark sense of humor, and whenever we're watching, the remake of King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong, and the ape is gunned down, and as he lands on the top of the Empire State Building, you see you see his eye dilate, illustrating that the ape had died. And all of a sudden, in the silence of the movie theater, in the quiet, all of a sudden you just hear this one voice off in the distance, just the monkey died. I lost it. I absolutely lost it. I got tears welling in my eyes. Next thing I know, I need to kill this man. Oh wait, that's my friend. Oh jeez.
It wasn't me, folks.
No, it
It
wasn't.
wasn't me.
Yeah, this one actually wasn't. This one wasn't Scott, folks.
But then again, as I said, my friend, he he still has it, a very dark sense of humor. Dark.
Ronnie says that he missed hanging out with Joe freaking Juiceco, and
He will regret that his entire life.
let's not get into that story, but maybe at another time. That would be cool.
Ask, I'll tell you. It doesn't matter.
What
I
do you
love
think?
telling that story.
All right, guys, let's go straight to promo time. What do you say? So up first is going to be Scott.
Hey, you can catch me over at boatdown.com. If you are watching this, you could probably find me on Facebook. I've been doing commissions as of late, and I only have a few more to do before I'm free to make more money and make you happy with my joyous pictures. So if you're looking for any of those things, find me over on Facebook.
What is it? Are you facebook.com/Scott Prime, or do you know?
I'm Scott Prime, I think. I don't know. You can find me through this. You talk about me all the time on here, so.
Well, I mean, you're plugging some illustrations. So
I guess I'm /Scott.prime.9. So I guess there's 9 of us out there. But I'm the real one, so that's all that matters.
All right, we're going to go to our guest.
Okay. I can be found at blackwolfartworks.com. On Facebook, I'm under Blackwolf Artworks, and the comic book itself is under Age of the Remnants comic. And I'm also on another page for the publisher company that we go through called Third Empire 2020. So it's kind of a conglomeration of all of us guys printing under the same label.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. So you have some other people that you're working with right now? I mean, that are kind of on the same label?
Yes. I think there's probably about 5 different groups of guys working together.
What is the address for that?
On Facebook, it'll be / Third Empire 2020. The numbers 2020.
All right, very cool. Or they could, I mean, they might be able to find it through your stuff right here.
I do share their projects and stuff on my pages, so you can find their stuff through there. We've got a lot of different kind of things. I think there's a Mojo Rising book that's coming up. It launches sometime here in July, and then a Blood of Gods, which is kind of a D&D medieval fantasy story that launches late July.
Ronnie says that he went to the Blackwolf website. Wow, very nice work and highly polished. So there's a plug there for you.
Yeah, I've got some work to do. I need to put some more pages up and get some more stuff up there. But right now it's designed just so you can go and kind of see a preview of the book.
Right.
I think there's like 7 or 8 pages there you can preview the story.
Cool. And let's not forget that you have a Kickstarter coming up in a week. So follow you on your different links there.
Yeah, follow me on the Age of Remnants. That's where I'll be, doing the most push on that one.
I have followed everything.
That is awesome. Shawn, you're up next.
To promote, still still adding to the website every now and again, taking a pause from that to work on my own projects, which hopefully you can see some stuff coming soon on rankingstudios.com or on the Facebook page Ranking Studios. And just keep checking there for any and all updates in the future.
All right. I'm pretty much the same way. Just check us out on that Ranking Studio site or on the Facebook deal, or you're watching this on my Facebook page. You know what's going on with me. Does anyone have anything to add?
Oh, I think you covered it all.
All right. Well, before we go, I want to mention that we're looking for guests for Taskforce Geek. If you're interested, please contact me at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. If you have something to promote, even better. Visit us on the Taskforce Geek Quora space or our home at rankingstudios.com. Thanks to everyone for watching this. Please leave a like, share wherever you see this. It makes a huge difference. For Scott, Shawn, Steve, and Russell, I had Steve from last. This is Dirk Hooper saying, dream hard.